Assalamu alaikum listeners, welcome to the show spin-off where we cover ICC Men's T20 World Cup for 2024. I am your RJ Faisal Ilyas. Two more exciting games have been played in the Super 8 Group 1. We saw India beating Sri Lanka very easily by 50 runs, but the game of the tournament between Australia and Afghanistan has produced a great result for Afghanistan, where Afghanistan beat Australia by 21 runs. Who could have thought that Afghanistan will beat Australia by such a big margin? And after what happened to Afghanistan in 2023 50 over World Cup, everybody thought that Australia will be easily winning this game, but that isn't the case. This is why we love cricket, because the script is written on the given day, and no team in this format, especially, is a clear favorite. So, this group has become very exciting because now India, Australia, and Afghanistan, all of these three teams will be fighting for the first and second place, where India looks very comfortable because they've won all of their three games in this Super 8 and they are still unbeaten in this T20 World Cup, alongside South Africa, who are in the Group 2, but they are also unbeaten. So, kind of, India and South Africa are placed for the semi final already, but the teams like England, Afghanistan, and Australia will be fighting for their places, and also West Indies. So, we'll talk about these two games that have been played in Group 1, and we'll also build up for the games that will be played. One will be played tonight at 7:30 p.m. between USA and England, and the other game will be played tomorrow morning between South Africa and West Indies at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. So these two games in the Group 2 will actually finalize the two teams that are going to play in the semi-finals. So a lot to look forward to in today's show. We'll also talk about the fitness camp that's happening in Karachi, and we've heard that 22 players have made it to this camp, and the players like Imamul Haq, Sarfaraz Ahmad, Shan Masood, all of them will be there in this camp. And the news is that Rizwan, Babar, and Shaheen will not be part of the test series for which this fitness camp has been placed. One thing that I'm noticing in Super 8 matches, that the teams winning the tosses are electing to bowl first, but they are actually making wrong decisions. We saw Sri Lanka winning the toss against India. They opted to bowl first, but eventually we saw that the wicket became very slow in the second innings, and they lost to India by 50 runs. Similarly, in Australia-Afghanistan game, Australia won the toss. They opted to bowl first. Again, they found it very difficult in the second innings, and they lost the game by 21 runs. But right now, we'll analyze the game between India and Sri Lanka. One thing is very obvious with all of the Asian sides playing against India, that they're under a lot of pressure when they play against India. We saw how Pakistan lost to India in the initial stage of the tournament, and then Afghanistan lost to India in the Super 8s very easily. Now, Sri Lanka has also lost to India by a very big margin. Like I said, they won the toss, they opted to bowl first. It was a very surprising decision to make, because it was obvious that the wicket will become slower in the second innings. And at the toss, Rohit Sharma also said that if I had won the toss, I would have opted to bat first as well. So the toss went in India's favor, and it was a good toss to lose for Rohit Sharma. When we look at the batting performance from India, they were outstanding in the sense that they utilized the conditions. They all of their first six players managed to hit the ball very cleanly. But the man of the match performance came from Hardik Pandya, the great all-rounder from India. And we see that for all-rounders, it's important that they take part in all the facets of the game. When Hardik was bowling well against other teams, like he bowled exceptionally well against Pakistan as well. Now he has started to bat well as well, and he was the one who scored 50 in just 27 balls, and he was the man of the match. And if we look at Virat Kohli, who has also started to score runs in the last match, he scored 24. Now he scored 37 in this game of just 28 balls. Rishabh Pant, who's been the find of this tournament in terms of he's made a comeback in T20 format, and he's doing so well for India. He scored 36 of 24. Shivan Dubey, who is a young player for India, who is in the team to play the innings like this in the middle overs. He's known to hit sixes to spinners. He scored 34 of 24, and Rohit Sharma, the captain, he also looked good in the beginning. He got out early, but he still scored 23 of 11. But the approach of Indian cricketer was great, because all of these players especially the top six players, all of them hit 1 6 at least, which is something that tells you their mindset that they wanted to play aerial and they wanted to take the advantage. But the strategy from Bangladesh was really dismal because at the toss they made the mistake, but and also when they came out to ball, we saw that for the first time there were spinners attacking from the both ends, which is very surprising. Their pacer Taskeen was not part of the team, which is also very surprising. I'm sure he must be not fit for the game, otherwise he's been doing so well in the tournament, and why should he not in the team? But if you look at the bowling, there Tanzim Hassan Saqib, who's been great for them in this tournament, he took 2 wickets, conceded 32 runs. Their leg spinner Rishad Hussain was very good in terms of taking wickets, but he conceded a lot of runs. He gave away 43 in just 3 overs. He took 2 wickets. If we look at the spread of Indian batting, it was smooth throughout. In the power play, they scored 53. In the overs between 7 and 10, they scored 30. And then between 11 and 15 overs, they scored 51. In the last 4 overs, also, they scored 62 runs, which is outstanding. So we move towards the song right now. When we come back, we'll see how Sri Lanka batted in reply to India's big total of 196 runs. And we have seen that a lot of senior players have been called on in the fitness camp that's going to start from 24th June, and we have to play test series against Bangladesh. And Shan Masood, our red ball captain, is back, and he also is trying to have a team which could produce good results in the test cricket. But moving towards the game that we were analyzing between India and Sri Lanka, India batted extremely well, and we saw that Hardik Pandya scored 50 of 27, which turned out to be his man of the match performance. But when we look at Sri Lanka's performance, they had no answers to great bowling from India, and their India's Hardik Pandya, Jasprit Bumrah especially, he's unplayable in this tournament, and Kuldeep Yadav, who's been in the team since the last 2 games, has also been kind of unplayable. He took 3 wickets, and like I said, Bangladesh batters did not have any answers to Kuldeep Yadav and Jasprit Bumrah especially. If you look at their figures, Kuldeep only conceded 19 runs and he took 3 wickets. Jasprit Bumrah also took 2 wickets and conceded 13 runs. So along with Hardik Pandya, I think these two were also very great performances from Indian bowlers. And Arshdeep Singh, who is another youngster left armer from India, he took 2 wickets, conceded 30 runs, and Hardik Pandya contributed with the ball as well. He took one important wicket in the beginning, and he conceded 32 runs. So all in all, great performance from India, and we have seen that India is unbeatable in this tournament, and they play next against mighty Australians, who have just been beaten by Afghanistan. So this game is going to be another big game. I think final before the final is this game, because Australia have to win this game to qualify for the semi-finals. But like India have performed in this tournament, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy for Australia to beat a side like India. And India also have to take revenge of the 50-over World Cup final, where Australia beat India in the finals, where India were unbeaten in the entire tournament. So I think a lot to look forward to this game, because a lot on stake in this game, especially for Australia to win this game and qualify for the next round of semi-finals. And Afghanistan will play Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has been out of sorts in Super 8, and we have seen that they have lost their games very easily against oppositions like Australia and India. But we expect them to bounce back, because they still have a chance to qualify for the semi-finals. So this group is very tight. It's not easy for any two teams, especially for Australia, Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka. India has already kind of qualified because they've won all 3 games so far. So if we look back to this game, nothing much to talk about Bangladesh's batting, except Najmul Hassan, who scored 40 of 32 runs. But in a game where you're chasing 197 to win, this wasn't enough. And Shakibul Hassan did not, when he doesn't bat well, Bangladesh is always struggling. So that was the case. He got out early, and Tanzim Hassan Saqib, who's their all-rounder, he scored 29 of 31, and Rishad Hussain also played well for his 24 in 10 balls. So all in all, very average performance from Bangladesh, but an important win for India. And Now we have to see how the game between Australia and Afghanistan goes on. And like we said, two important games to come up in Group 2 today as well. So we'll talk about that as well. So the next game in Group 1 was played between Australia and Afghanistan today morning. And Australia won the toss and they opted to bowl first, just like other teams have been doing. But it turned out to be a wrong decision because it became very difficult to bat in the second innings. And as the game progressed, we saw that pitch became very, very slow. Afghanistan won the game eventually by 21 runs, and this group has become very exciting because of this win by Afghanistan, because now India, Australia, and Afghanistan, all three will be fighting for their place in the semi-finals. Man of the match performance came from their veteran all-rounder Gulbuddin Naib, who took 4 wickets and conceded only 20 runs. If we look at Afghanistan's batting, they scored 148 in 20 overs and they lost 6 wickets. And this turned out to be a great total, although it looks very average total. And at the halfway stage, Australia would be fancying their chance to win the game easily, but that didn't happen, and it was eventually a good total for Afghanistan to win against Australia. Again, Afghanistan's openers, Gurbaz, who's been in great touch, but in the last two games he didn't score big. But whenever he scores big, Afghanistan has the chance to win the games. So we saw here again he scored 60, and his partner Ibrahim Zadran scored 51. This is their fourth, in fact third 100-run plus partnership in this year's T20 World Cup. So outstanding performance by Afghanistan openers. But this also shows that Afghanistan team relies very heavily on these two to do well, and whenever they do it, Afghanistan wins the games very easily, because Afghanistan has clearly very good depth in their bowling to defend small totals as well. Like we saw in this game that they could beat Australia so easily by 21 runs. If you look at the other performances, Karim Jannat scored 13 runs and Mohammad Nabi scored 10 runs. If we go through their breakdown of how they scored their runs and how they conceded wickets, it's one of its kind. I mean, they did not lose any wicket up until the 15th over, and they lost all their 6 wickets in the overs between 16 and 20. So you can imagine how good they read the situation. I mean, they did not lose any wickets in the first 15 overs, and they were scoring on a very average run rate, which obviously they will have it in mind that a score like 150 would be enough on this wicket. So between 1 and 6 overs they scored 40 without conceding a wicket. Between 7 and 10 they scored 24, and between 11 and 15, 45 for no loss. So until 15th over no wicket was lost, and then between 16 and 20 they scored 39 runs and conceded 6 wickets. They played 56 dot balls, a lot of dot balls played by Afghanistan, but eventually it wasn't something that hit them in the second innings. And the best over was the 19th over, where they scored 15 runs against Hazelwood, and Karim Jannat was the one who was facing Hazelwood in this over. So all in all, good performance from Afghanistan in the batting. And when we come back from the song and the break, we'll talk about how Australia played their innings and what made them lose the game. Their star all-rounder Glenn Maxwell, who can forget this player who made them win the game against Afghanistan in 2023 World Cup, 50-over World Cup. So, but he could not do much. He scored 59, but still Australia lost the game. We are going through the game between Australia and Afghanistan, which was played today morning. And who could have thought Afghanistan could win the game against Australia by 21 runs and making this group ever competitive to have two teams playing for the semi-finals. We went through how Afghanistan batted in the first inning. Very surprising effort from them, as if they knew that a score of 148, 150 could be something that they can defend. But yes, they were right. They won the game by 21 runs. They scored 148 for 6 in their quota of 20 overs. They played 56 dot balls. We saw an outstanding 100-run plus partnership, the third one from Gurbaz and Zadran, which was the highlight of the game. But the man of the match performance in the game from Gulbuddin Naib. So now we look at how Australia approached their batting in to chase down 148. We saw that their openers were in good touch. If we talk about Glenn Maxwell and Mitchell Marsh, all of them were in good touch. But in this game, we saw that Afghanistani bowlers were very difficult to score runs against. And if we look at the great performances from Australia, it only came from Glenn Maxwell, who scored 59 of 41. Then Mitchell Marsh scored 12 of 9, who's their captain as well. Marcus Stoinis, who has been in great touch in this tournament, and all of these players have done so well in this tournament, because of which Australia was unbeaten in the tournament, but they have lost their first game, and something that England could not do and all the other sides could not do is done by Afghanistan, and this loss means that now Australia has to win the game against India to qualify for the semi-finals. If we look at the bowling performance from Afghanistan, Gulbadin Naib, like I said, he was the man of the match in this game. He took 4 important wickets and conceded only 20 runs. Naveenul Haq, who always is great against Australia, I was just looking at the stats he has against Australia in the T20 format in ICC tournaments. He's outstanding. In this game also, he conceded only 20 runs in 4 overs and he took 3 important wickets. Rashid Khan, Afghanistan captain, who is an outstanding leg spinner, he also took 1 wicket and conceded only 23 runs. So if we look at the bowling performances, these 3 top bowlers took 7 wickets, and I think this was enough for Afghanistan to make it difficult for Australia to chase down 149. All right, so if we look at the breakdown of overs as to how Australia approached their run chase, it was dismal in the beginning. They conceded 3 wickets and scored only 33 runs in the power plays, whereas if we compare it to how Afghanistan started their innings, they scored 40 without losing a wicket in the power play. So power plays is the time when it actually identifies as to which team is going to do well in the innings, and it clearly shows that Australia was not good in the power plays, and in the overs between 7 and 10 they were better. They scored 37 without conceding a wicket, compared to Afghanistan, who scored 24 in that period of time. And between 11 and 15 they scored 38 for 3, again losing a lot of wickets in this middle overs, where Afghanistan had scored 45 without losing a wicket. And in the death overs also, it was complete disaster for Australia. They lost 4 wickets and they only could score 19 runs. So if we look at the pitches in West Indies, these conditions have become very difficult for batting teams, and especially while chasing. We saw England lost to South Africa. Over there also, they needed only 25 in the last 3 overs, and they had Livingston and Brook kind of players on the pitch, but they couldn't do it, which means that wickets are not easy so far to chase down scores. So this game also, Australia could not manage to chase the target of only 148 against Afghanistan. And if we look at the dot balls, Australia played 58, a lot of dot balls. Actually, 10 overs they played as dot balls. All right, so if we look at the group one, the next 2 games to be played are between Australia and India. The big game that's going to be played on 24th of June at St. Lucia, and the next game is between Afghanistan and Bangladesh on 25th at St. Vincent. And we've seen that all of these games have been very difficult for chasing sides, because the pitch becomes very slow while the team is batting second. So we'll have to see as to what strategy the teams go with, and teams like Australia have also faltered, who we have spoken about to be the best sides in terms of reading the conditions and analyzing the situations, but they have also faltered in West Indies conditions. And probably this is why Babar had gone with Azam Khan and Saim Ayub and Muhammad Amir in the team. But unfortunately, we could not make it to the Super 8, where we had to play in West Indies conditions. We only played in USA, and from there we had to come back as we lost to USA and India. All right, the news from our show today is that Muhammad Amir is going to be with the team till 2025 Champions Trophy. This is one of the big news, and we saw Amir conceding 19 runs in the super over against USA, whereby we lost the game by 7 runs because we could not score down the 19 when we batted against USA. All right, but he's going to be with the team till 2025 Champions Trophy. We'll have to wait and see as to how he does in the 50 over format. And we have heard him saying that he was fit for the T20 format, but how is he going to make a comeback in 50 over format? Because he will then have to play in the domestic cricket and will have to prove his fitness and all. But this is what we have right now in terms of what Mohammad Amir is going to do from now on. Coming back to the group 2, where two games are going to be played, one tonight between USA and England at 7:30 p.m. and one between South Africa and West Indies at 5:30 a.m. Tomorrow morning. So these two games will decide as to which two teams will qualify from the four teams: USA, England, South Africa, and West Indies. Where South Africa is the only team who have 6 points in this group, and all the other teams are actually, in fact, England and West Indies are fighting for their place, and England has to play USA, so they have a relatively easy game, but they have to win it big to not just score the 2 points, but also to help their net run rate to be beyond West Indies' net run rate, which is right now already at 1.98 positive. So exciting games coming up. And when we look at the USA and England game, it is going to be played at Barbados, where team betting first have won the two games and team betting second have won 3 games. And you see, this is the analysis which makes these teams to bat second. But we have seen already that batting second is not easy in West Indies conditions. So the team winning toss will have to make the right decision. But again, England will have an advantage, but since they have to win big, so the toss is going to be very critical. But when we look at the game between West Indies and South Africa, it has to be played at Antigua, and over here also batting first and second is not it's not that big difference. I mean, batting first have won 3 games and batting second have won 4 games, so it's kind of even Stevens whether you bat first or second. But again, a big game for West Indies, and they will also have to win by a slight bit of good margin to be ahead of England. So two teams will be fighting tonight for their place in the semi-finals from the group 2. All right, so we'll analyze group 1 and group 2 as to where which team is standing in these two groups and which teams are qualifying for the next round. All right, so in group 1, India is there with 4 points and they top the group. They have a very good net run rate as well with plus 2.4, and Australia is on second place, but they are not that easy because they have to play against India to qualify for the semi-finals, and they have played 2 games so far. They have the net run rate of plus 0.223, which is not that great because they will now have to win big against India to make Afghanistan stay on the third position. Afghanistan right now are on the third position and they have played 2 games. They have 2 points and their net run rate is negative 0.65. And Bangladesh is on the fourth position and they are almost out of the race of the semi-finals. So this group is become very exciting and fighting group because Afghanistan and Australia will be fighting for their place in the semi-finals, and India is to some extent already qualified for the semi-finals. And moving towards group 2, where South Africa is unbeaten just like India. They have played 2 games and they are having 4 points because they've won all of their 2 games so far, and they have the positive net run rate of 0.625. With West Indies, after their outstanding win against USA, they are on 2 points. They have played 2 games, but why they are on the second place is because they have better net run rate compared to England. They are on plus 1.8, and England with the same points, 2 points after playing 2 games, are on third position with the net run rate of plus 0.4. So the net run rate is going to play a key role. We all remember that in 2019 World Cup, Pakistan could not make it to the semi-finals only because they had lower run rate compared to New Zealand. So again, why I'm telling you that incident is because this is going to become a key factor in teams qualifying for the next round, because if West Indies and England both win their games, they will both have 4 points each, but they will qualify based on their net run rate. And in the group 2 also, USA is just like Bangladesh, where they are sitting on the bottom with 2 games and 2 losses. And we saw that USA was completely dismantled in the game against West Indies, and it was the first game where they could not play like a good team, and they played like an associate team in the game against West Indies. But we'll have to wait and see as to how they do against England. And they have to play against England today, and South Africa West Indies game will be tomorrow morning. So this group will be decided when we come back in tomorrow's show. So time for me to say goodbye. When I come back tomorrow, the group 2 will be decided, and we'll be waiting for group 1 to get decided in tomorrow's show. So keep listening to our show. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the remaining songs in the show.